Hi there, this is Marsha Egan back with you on our third video. We've been talking about email productivity for the last two videos. You have been giving us lots of comments on our website about the subject and the tips that we've given you in the past, and we're just going to keep it going. So I hope you stick with me for the next 15-20 minutes because we're going to continue to give you even more value about how to not only process your incoming emails and inbox, but some little tips for you on the outgoing stuff. Because believe it or not, some of the things that we all do, yeah, I'm included, sorry about that, is that we make more work for ourselves by what we send out. I've worked with a number of people on this, and it's amazing to me just a few little tweaks that people can take that actually will gain them an hour a day. One of my clients actually employed only 3 or 4 of these tips, and she came back to me and said, my gosh, I had no idea I had so much extra time. And one of them was dealing with the interruptions. So go back to video number 1 if you haven't had a chance to review that one. But if you gain 1 hour a day, that's 5 hours in a week. That's 20 hours in a month. And you can gain more than an hour a day. So what would you do with an extra 20 hours? I know what I would do, and it wouldn't be more email. So let's get through it. I'd like to give you a number of little tips on outgoing email that will help you be more productive. And I know you're going to think some of these things sound very common sense-ish, and duh, Marsha, I knew that. But let's just think about these. I'm going to give you a list of several of these, and take the ones that seem to work for you. Okay, number 1, MPUF. What in the world does that mean? Main point up front. When you're writing an email message, make sure that you put the main point, the one request, the question, the statement, the observation, whatever is the main point of your email message in the very, very first sentence of the email. Why? Well, there are about 5 great reasons to do it. But number 1 is most people, 7 out of 10 people are skimmers. They skim their email, but they almost always read that very first sentence. So put it in the first sentence. And don't keep adding words. Don't add more sentences. Make it a new paragraph after the main point. And that might be, good morning, Susie. May I borrow your LCD projector for my Tuesday presentation? New paragraph, explanation. Now, many times what happens is people will build up. That's our human nature. We build up to the point. And what many people would write might be something like, we're having a program on Tuesday. I'm very excited about it. The purpose of it is this, and we have a great PowerPoint that we want to use, and I'm hoping that I might be able to borrow your LCD projector. Do you see where we're going with this? Okay, so if you have a question, if you have a statement, if you have a request, if you are asking someone to do something specific, make it one sentence and make it the first sentence after you have your greeting. That's main point up front. How do you like that one? Okay, number 2, subject lines. You may think this is kind of weird too, but the more specific your subject line is, the easier it will be actually for you, but for other people. I used to get an email from someone and it would say meeting. Well, I don't know about you, but I have a lot of meetings. And in the body of the email, it said, could you please bring this attachment to our meeting? Why didn't that person just put that whole thing in the subject line? Now, you might think that's too much for a subject. It's not. A very specific subject line not only helps the other person triage their work, but when they email back, you'll know exactly what it's about. But if you use something generic, you're probably going to have to open it to try and remember what you emailed about in the first place. Okay, here's another one. When you're sending it, let's forget reply all. Reply all is the bane of everybody's email. They hate it. So don't you do it. And here's the deal. If you get an email that is sent to you and copied to 10 people with a meeting announcement, do not copy all those people when you respond, yes, I'll attend the meeting. Just respond to the meeting organizer. And just think about that. You just saved 9 other people from looking at your email. So some of this is etiquette, but some of this is effective use of email. And what happens is a lot of people will mirror what you do. So that's a best practice. And that is, if you get an email with a lot of people copied on it, if 2 or 3 of those people need to see the return message, include them. But be very judicious about who you are including. That's another really good one. And here's a little etiquette tip. Emails, well, let's just start this way. Communication between 2 people is voice inflection, body language, and message. Well, guess what? Email is only 20% of the message, because most of our messages are seen, heard, voice inflection, and body language account for 80% of the message. So you lose all of that whenever you send an email. And so it's really important for you to understand that no matter how many smiley faces you put in there or ha-has you put in there, people will misinterpret your email messages if you're not superbly clear about them. So one of the mantras that I use is, if there's any chance it can be misinterpreted, it will be. Therefore, when you write your email message, be very clear and make sure that you are not inflaming a situation with your email message. If there's any emotion involved, if they're on your part, their part, it's much better to talk. It's much better to pick up the phone, because what happens with emotional email messages is they spiral, they snowball, they get out of control. So do yourself a favor. Never email when you're emotional. That's number 1. And number 2, recognize that email can be misinterpreted. So be very clear in your email writings. And what I like to say is, here's another little quote, and that is, email is for facts and not feelings. So these are some tips that I hope you find very, very useful. And we're just going to keep going with these. I want you to look out for our next message and our next email, because that is when we're going to introduce the product that we've been working on as a result of all of the questions you have given us and all of the comments you've given us on our website. It's going to be called it's going to be called Email Productivity Gems. 100 points for 100 precious more hours. And that's probably a low estimate, because if you garner these points that we give you, which are like the ones we've been giving you in these last video messages, you are probably going to save not 100 hours a year, but maybe 300 hours a year, maybe 400 hours a year. And this is where we want to go with this. We've been working very, very hard on this product, and we are going to be launching it. Watch your email in the next week to 10 days. And I just want to give you a tip here. it is only going to be available for 1 week. So when you get that email message announcing our email productivity gems, open it and look at the offer, because it's going to be something that you are not going to regret getting involved in. Because I'll tell you what, if any of these tips have been useful to you, and if you've been able to save any time at all through all these messages, then it's really worth you looking at what we've been putting together. We've been working on this for the last two months. I have been doing this for the last 7 to 8 years. I've written a book about it. That digital book is going to be part of the offer. And we are just all about helping you do what is so much more important to you than email. And so we're not going to talk about it anymore now, but what I'd love for you to do is go back to the comments section in the email that delivered this message and keep the conversation going. This has been really fun. We've had a lot of posts on this, and I am just loving working with you. So until that next video and email, here's Marsha Egan signing off and hoping to join you in the next week to 10 days.